Ever get that feeling that to really make it in business, you need to be where the action is? I mean, Silicon Valley, the name itself just buzzes with innovation, right? All those huge companies we hear about. But the big question is, how do you actually, set yourself up for success in an environment that intense?
That's exactly it. So many ambitious students are thinking just that. And it's not just about being near the innovation, geographically speaking. It's finding a place, an ecosystem that helps you cultivate it within yourself.
Totally agree. And that's precisely what we're digging into today. We've pulled together a lot of info on the undergraduate business program at Santa Clara University's Leavey School of Business. We're looking directly at their official materials to really understand what makes this program tick.
Yeah, think of this as your inside look, a potential game changer, maybe. We're going to explore the big reasons why SCU might be the right launch pad for you, what you'll actually learn there, the nuts and bolts of the curriculum, and even get into some key insights on, navigating their admissions.
So if you're aiming high, trying to figure out how to get that competitive edge, especially somewhere like Silicon Valley, well, you're in the right place. Let's start with the fundamentals. Why even consider studying business at Santa Clara? What's the big why?
Well, the location. You really can't overstate that advantage. You are literally in the heart of global innovation. It's not just a couple of tech firms nearby. We're talking over 7,000 companies and startups surrounding you. Apple, Google. The giants are right there.
Okay, but it's got to be more than just seeing their buildings.
Yeah.
What's the real benefit for a student?
Oh, absolutely. The opportunities for internships, for networking, they're just unparalleled. Imagine interning at those very companies, or maybe a super hot startup practically next door. That kind of direct, hands-on experience, it can seriously accelerate your career path.
And it sounds like this isn't just talk. The results for graduates seem to back it up.
They really do. SCU has pretty impressive job placement rates, especially at top firms. You consistently see their grads landing roles at places like Apple, Deloitte, PwC, JP Morgan. That concentration of leading businesses just creates this fertile ground for launching careers.
Okay, location is huge. Check. But there must be other things that make Santa Clara unique. It can't just be the zip code.
You're absolutely right. And what's really interesting here is the blend they've created. It's this combination of rigorous technical business skills, but paired with a very strong ethical foundation, that commitment to ethics. It's core to their Jesuit tradition.
Innovation with ethics. That's a really interesting mix for today's world. How does that actually show up in the program?
It shapes the whole approach, really. The focus is on developing problem solvers who think ahead, but who aren't just about the bottom line. They're also committed to making a positive social impact. It's about leading with competence, yes, but also with conscience.
And with so much focus now on corporate responsibility, that ethical grounding must be a real advantage for graduates.
Definitely. Plus, they really prioritize a personalized learning environment. Think smaller class sizes, a collaborative community vibe. It's designed so you're actually engaged, not just lost in a huge lecture hall.
So more FaceTime with professors, more interaction with classmates.
Exactly. It fosters closer relationships. The faculty aren't just scholars doing research. They're dedicated teachers, mentors. Actually, alumni consistently rate faculty availability for mentoring really highly, like 9.3 out of 10.
Wow. That personal connection with experienced mentors, that can be invaluable when you're figuring things out.
It really can. And all this feeds into their strong national rankings and those impressive career outcomes we mentioned. SCU's undergrad business program is consistently ranked among the best in the U.S.
The numbers often tell a story. Where do they usually land in those rankings?
They're consistently up there, like #2 in California and often in the top 20 nationally, according to places like Poets and Quants. Those rankings look at things like student quality, the academic experience, and crucially, those job outcomes.
All right, you mentioned job placement earlier. Let's circle back to the specific numbers because they really do stand out.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Over 92%, 92.6% to be exact, of their grads have jobs within 3 months of graduation.
92%. That's a strong signal.
It really is. Shows the program works and that employers really want these graduates. And the average starting salary is competitive too, right around $60,000.
Okay, let's pull this together. Why Santa Clara for business? What's the bottom line?
Well, if you're looking for hands-on learning right in Silicon Valley's engine room, a tight-knit community with real faculty mentorship, excellent career prospects backed by solid data, and this grounding in ethics, then yeah, SCU's business program presents a really compelling case.
Okay, we've tackled the why. Now let's dive into the what. What exactly will you learn if you enroll at Leavey? What's the curriculum actually like?
So the main degree is the Bachelor of Science in Commerce, and under that umbrella, you've got a good range of majors covering the core business disciplines.
Can you give us a quick rundown of those specializations?
Sure, there's accounting and also accounting and information systems, or A&IS, which, blends traditional accounting with tech and data analysis, super relevant now. Then you have economics, finance, management, marketing, and also management information systems, MIS, which is all about that intersection of IT and business strategy. And for students with really specific goals, there's even an individual studies major option.
Okay, good mix of traditional and more modern tech-focused areas. Is there a common set of courses everyone takes?
Absolutely. All these majors share a common business core curriculum. This makes sure every student, no matter their focus, gets a solid understanding of the fundamentals. You usually declare your major by sophomore year after getting a taste of different areas in your first year.
Makes sense. Gives you time to explore before committing. And it sounds like it's not just business classes.
That's a really key point. Besides the Leavey Business Core, you also complete the University Core curriculum. That means courses in liberal arts and sciences. The whole philosophy is about educating the whole person.
The whole person. What does that mean practically for a business student?
It means you're engaging with humanities, social sciences, arts, alongside your business studies. It builds critical thinking, boosts communication skills, gives you a broader perspective on the world, which honestly is incredibly valuable for future leaders dealing with complex global issues. It really reflects that Jesuit focus on developing socially conscious leaders, people who are skilled, yes, but also aware of their impact.
So it's not just about profit, but about understanding the bigger picture.
Exactly. For instance, every business student has to take courses on ethics and the global cultural environment of business. These aren't just add-ons. They're integrated to instill that sense of corporate social responsibility and global awareness early on. The goal is a well-rounded thinker, an effective communicator, and an ethical decision maker, qualities employers are really looking for.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the business courses themselves. What are those foundational classes in the first couple of years?
Right. The first 2 years focus on building that critical foundation, the lower division core. This includes an intro business sequence, a strong focus on quantitative skills, foundations in econ and accounting, and the legal and ethical context.
Let's start with that intro sequence. What's in there?
First-year students take contemporary business issues. It's a broad overview of all the main business areas, plus some basic problem-solving tools. And you jump right into Introduction to Spreadsheets, Mastering Excel and Data Skills from day one.
Why start with those specific things right away? What's the rationale?
The idea is to give everyone early exposure to all the core fields, plus those essential tech skills, before they specialize. It helps you make a more informed choice about your major, and it builds that foundation for later, more advanced courses. Learning often happens through case studies, projects on current business trends.
Got it. Explore the landscape and build essential tools early. What about the quantitative skills part? Sounds pretty critical today.
Oh, absolutely essential. A strong quantitative base is non-negotiable in modern business. So all business students need at least one calculus course, either business calculus or analytical geometry calculus. Really sharpens mathematical reasoning. Then there's a 2-course sequence in statistics and data analysis. Learning to interpret data, run analyses, apply stats to business problems. Economics majors usually take a more specific econometric sequence, by the way.
Why the heavy emphasis on calc and stats for everyone, even if they don't see themselves as math people?
Because, honestly, in today's world, data is the language of business decisions. Quantitative analysis is key. Doesn't matter if you're in finance, marketing, operations. You need to understand and use data. These courses mix lectures for the theory with hands-on labs using real data sets and software. Very practical.
Sounds like skills you can use immediately. What about econ and accounting? Also fundamental, right?
Yeah, definitely. Students take 3 economics courses: micro, macro, and then either international or development economics. That gives you the framework for understanding markets, the wider economy, global issues. And then 2 required accounting courses: financial and managerial accounting.
The language of business, as they say.
Exactly. You learn to read financial statements, understand costs, budgeting, financial planning. It's fundamental stuff, no matter your role. These classes usually involve lots of problem solving, maybe analyzing a company's financials or creating a budget. The point is, everyone graduates understanding the core fiscal and economic principles.
Okay, we've covered the numbers in economics. What about the maybe softer side, legal and ethical stuff?
Yep, those are definitely core components too. Everyone takes business law. That covers the legal environment contracts, liability, regulations, understanding risk, ethical judgment within the law. Plus, there's a business ethics requirement. You can take a dedicated course in Leavey or an equivalent philosophy course.
What's the focus in those ethics classes? What kinds of things do students wrestle with?
You dig into real-world ethical dilemmas businesses face, explore different frameworks for making decisions. It directly supports that goal of producing responsible graduates who act with integrity. Learning often uses case studies of company scandals or tough calls, class debates, reflective essays connecting theory to practice.
So after building that solid lower division foundation, what's next? What core knowledge do they tackle in the upper division years?
Right, once you've got that base, you move into required upper division courses covering the main functional areas. That means deeper dives into finance, marketing, management, and operations.
Can you give us a quick taste of what's covered in each of those?
Sure, financial management, valuing investments, capital structure, making sound money decisions, principles of marketing, understanding customers, developing strategies, building brands, management of organizations, leadership theories, organizational behavior, managing people effectively, and operations management, designing and improving processes for producing goods and services efficiently. The big picture goal is a holistic view, seeing how all these different parts of a business connect and depend on each other. These upper-level classes often use team projects, real-world cases like developing a marketing plan or analyzing a supply chain.
Sounds like a lot of collaboration, mimicking how things actually work in business.
Exactly. It's designed that way. Builds technical knowledge and those crucial soft skills.
Yeah.
Teamwork, communication, problem solving. And beyond those core functions, there's also a specific important focus on business communication.
Tell us more about that. Sounds like it gets special attention.
It does. There's a required course, Communication in Business. It's an advanced writing and professional communication intensive. Really focuses on writing clear, persuasive reports, crafting effective emails, giving strong presentations, communicating data well. Skills that are, invaluable no matter what path you take in business. Assignments might be like writing a consulting report or developing a business pitch with feedback to help you improve.
Makes total sense. Getting your ideas across clearly is crucial. And then the capstone wraps things up.
Yes, the strategic management capstone in senior year. It's where you integrate everything. You apply all that knowledge, finance, marketing management, everything to tackle complex, comprehensive business problems. Often it's a simulation where teams run a company, or maybe a real consulting project for an actual business or nonprofit. It's your chance to show you can think strategically, integrate different fields, lead a project, exactly what employers want to see.
Like a final exam, but very practical and applied. Now, the curriculum sounds solid, but what about learning outside the classroom, experiential stuff?
SEU puts a really strong emphasis on that. It's woven throughout. Some courses build it right in. Like, there's a conscientious capitalism course looking at ethical leadership via cases and guest speakers, and a Foundations of Leadership course for first years using interactive exercises.
So practical elements embedded in the courses. What about internships? That seems key, especially in Silicon Valley.
Oh, huge. Internships aren't technically required for graduation, but they're strongly encouraged and super common. Over 80% of Leavey students do at least one business internship. The school has a dedicated career center, plus professional development courses to help you land those opportunities. It's where you apply classroom concepts to real companies, build your network, get industry insights, and often get job offers.
That bridge between theory and practice, so important. Any other unique programs or learning opportunities?
Yeah, some really cool community-based learning things. The Neighborhood Prosperity Initiative, or NTI. Students do pro bono consulting for small businesses in underserved local areas. Real problems, real impact. Great experience. Then there's the Community Fellows Program paid, year-long internships at nonprofits or government agencies, plus a social justice course. These aren't just simulations. You're applying skills, making a difference, developing soft skills. It's pretty powerful stuff.
That mix of business skills and social impact is really compelling. Are there global opportunities too?
Definitely. Lots of study abroad options, short global immersion trips, like trips to Rwanda, Myanmar, Cuba, through their Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship, focusing on things like sustainable business. And on campus, you can add interdisciplinary minors, entrepreneurship, international business, retail studies, sustainable food systems. Lets you tailor your degree, connect with centers like the Chiaka Center for Innovation or the Retail Management Institute.
So the overall vibe sounds very active, applied, well-rounded.
That's exactly the goal. Lots of group work, presentations, simulations, case competitions. Communication and teamwork are stressed throughout. So you graduate with deep expertise in your major, sure, but also broad business knowledge, strong analytical and communication skills, that ethical grounding, and real practical experience. Ready for dynamic careers, basically, with competence and conscience.
Okay, great picture of the why and the what. Let's shift to the how. For students listening, what does it actually take to get into the Leavey School of Business at Santa Clara?
Right. Admission to SCU, and Leavey specifically, is competitive. And it's a holistic review. They've definitely become more selective over the years. And while the average admitted student has a strong academic profile, it's really important to get this.
Yeah.
They look beyond the numbers. They're trying to gauge your fit with the university's mission, its values, the community they're building.
So perfect grades aren't the only thing that matter.
Not at all. Strong academics are important, yes, but they also really value your personal qualities, your experiences, how you might contribute, especially considering that Jesuit tradition.
Let's break down the academics then. What preparation should students aim for in high school?
Math is key for business. Minimum 3 years required, but they strongly recommend 4. Algebra, geometry are foundational. And crucially, they expect you to be ready for calculus. Aim for pre-calc, or ideally, calculus in high school if you can. You'll need it for the Leavey curriculum. Doing well in econ, business electives, computer science, that helps show interest, but isn't strictly required. The main thing is showing strength and interest in quantitative analytical subjects.
What about standardized tests, SAT, ACT?
Yeah.
How much do they count at Santa Clara now?
Okay, so SCU is currently test optional. That means submitting SAT or ACT scores is not required, and they're clear. You won't be disadvantaged if you don't submit scores. Actually, recently, about half of applicants didn't report scores. So the advice is usually submit them only if they're strong, like within or above their typical admitted student range. Otherwise, don't feel pressured.
So if tests are optional, what really carries weight in that holistic review? What are they looking for?
They look at everything to get the full picture. Academics, definitely GPA, grade trends, the rigor of your courses, AP/IB honors, did you challenge yourself? But beyond grades, they really focus on personal qualities and fit. Leadership, ethics, service to the community, how have you been involved? They tend to value depth and real leadership over just a long list of activities.
And the essays must be pretty important for showing that fit.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The Common App personal statement is your chance to tell your story, show your personality, your values, what makes you tick, things that don't come across in grades or activity lists. If you can genuinely connect your goals or values to SCU's focus ethics, Silicon Valley, whatever resonates that, can make a strong impression.
What about recommendations? Who should you ask?
They require one letter, usually from an academic teacher in a core subject or your school counselor. Pick someone who knows you well, who can speak to your abilities, curiosity, character, potential, with specific examples, ideally. A strong letter backs up what you say elsewhere in your application. Give them plenty of time and info, like your resume or goals, to help them write a great letter.
Any other factors students should think about?
Yeah, they'll look at your full activities list, leadership roles, any special talents or awards, unique experiences, overcoming challenges. That context matters too. The whole point of holistic review is there's no single formula. They're building a diverse community of well-rounded people who fit their Jesuit values: competence, conscience, compassion.
Okay, let's get practical. The application process itself, what's the checklist?
You submit the common application online by the deadline ED2, early action, or regular decision. Pay attention to those dates. ED is binding, remember. On the app, you pick your school, so Leavey School of Business. Then you need your official high school transcript, that common app essay, your activity honors list, one recommendation letter, the secondary school report from your counselor, and the application fee, unless you have a waiver. Test scores are optional, as we said.
Any extra essays just for business applicants?
As of recently, no supplemental essays specifically for Leavey. But always double-check the SCU admissions website for the most current requirements. Things can change year to year.
Okay, here's a common question. Apply with a specific major in mind or go in as undeclared business. What's the deal at SCU?
Right. On the Common App, you pick one of the 3 undergrad schools. If business is your main interest, pick Leavey. Then, within Leavey, you can specify a major if you want, or choose undeclared business. Importantly, SCU says selectivity doesn't really vary much between the schools, so apply to the school that fits your main interest. If you're truly torn between business and something else entirely, you can apply undeclared in another school. Internal transfer to Leavey is possible after year one, but needs specific courses and GPA maybe around 2.75 historically. So if you're leaning business, applying directly to Leavey is usually smoother.
Got it. Finally, any last tips for putting together a strong application for Leavey?
I'd say, first, be authentic. Let your real self come through. Highlight leadership and initiative with concrete examples. Show, don't just tell. Try to subtly connect your experiences or values to SU's mission-competent, conscientious, compassionate leaders. Personalize your interest in business if you can. Proofread everything carefully. Write clearly, sincerely. And finally, don't get discouraged by the selectivity. Focus on presenting your best, well-rounded self. Reaching out to admissions or doing a virtual visit can also show interest and help you learn more.